Hello, hello, hello. All right, so I'm just going to talk about risk reward today, and we can just talk briefly about win rates, risk reward, um, the variance attached to those, and what's optimal and all that. Um, First, the short answer: do you want to trade 10 to ones all the time? Um, the short answer is if you choose to do that, be prepared to take on a longer than normal string of losers in a row. Okay, regardless of your regardless of your strategy, it's likely that you're not going to have more than a 30% win rate with a 10 to 1. I mean, that would be really profitable. Your break even rate is 9%. You just have to win one out of every 10 trades and you're going to be profitable. Okay, but the strings of losers can be enormous. All right. Let's say if you have a 20% win rate, you'd be profitable, okay? 2 out of every 10. Let's say 3. You win 3 out of every 10. You have a 30% win rate. That's still you're more likely to lose. You enter every single trade destined, more destined to lose. So be advised when you're doing a 10 to 1, the variance in your account from your maximum net profit that you've made, like you're up a grand, be prepared that you have a string of losers, boom, 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 all the way down until your next win to make up for that. Because remember, if you're risking $100 each trade, you're going to be minus 100, minus 100, minus 100, plus 1,000, minus 100, minus 100, minus 100, minus 100, plus 1,000. In your stair steps up on your chart are going to be much larger. You're double stepping these stairs for sure. I'm just saying, like you're double stepping. Um, a 1 to 1 would just be small variance, up one, down one, up one, up one, down one. It's very small, tight risk. But a 10 to 1, be prepared that your variance is going to be large. Okay, um, that's the only disclosure that I would say about a 10 to 1. I think it's profitable. I think you can be profitable with it. And I think if if it's in line with your strategy, meaning there's certain strategies that work for a 10 to 1, certain don't. And obviously you look at the data and it'll tell you, but I'm talking intuitively. Do you want to be is this your is this what you think is going to happen? Like if you're taking a wide zone on the daily chart and you're really just thinking that it'll go up a little bit, a wide zone, it takes a long time. Like those are probably 1 to 1s, like base hits that you want. In my opinion, a strategy that would go for a higher risk reward is something like some type of small tight risk, maybe on the intraday chart on a breakout where you do lose more percentage of the time, but when it breaks out, you have such tight risk on it that when it rips, you can capture a 10 to 1 plus because it's such a tight risk box and you're getting in on the smaller time frame, but then like the 3 minute or the 5 minute or something, whatever you want, and then your targets are extended on the daily chart, like way far away, where if that daily does move, and you're in on it, you have such a small risk that you can easily capture a 10 to 1, like because um, because your risk is so tight. And those are the trades that I think a 10 to 1 would be um, fitting. See, you have to, in my opinion, fit your risk reward optimizations around your strategy. I always had this analogy in my head. When you're trying to catch a fish, you don't bring a raccoon cage. When you're trying to catch a raccoon or something out in the yard, you don't bring a fish hook, you don't bring a bear trap, you don't bring a freaking net. You bring a raccoon cage where they come in and then it slams shut. and then you're good. Like, the idea is to look your chart, and your strategy on your chart. That's the animal. You have to center everything around the animal. If you are looking at breakouts and that's your trade, don't be going 1-to-1s. Don't be going 0.5 to 1s. Don't be going even 2 to 1s. You have to craft your trap, your contraption around what trade that you have existing in it. So if you have that breakout that I was talking about, that small risk, don't be doing 1-to-1s. Be doing 5-to-1s, 6-to-1s, 7-to-1s, 8-to-1s, 10-to-1s. Be doing high risk reward, because that's what often it will go, and that's kind of the point of that strategy. So I think it's good to start thinking about what type of trap you want on, what type of trap is fitting for the animal you're trying to catch. What type of risk reward is fitting? What type of trade execution is fitting for the trade? Okay? So it's all centered around the trade. It's not about the trap. It's not about the 1-to-1s. That's not steering it. The weight and what is most important, what all of this should be based off of, is the chart, is the trade itself. And in my opinion, it's the chart. But other people, if it's fundamental news or something, like, if this fundamental news works, what's going to happen? Then don't be getting a small target. If your bias is it's gonna move and we're gonna see a recession, then that should be your target, and whatever it is, But everybody has a different reason to trade anyways. But what I'm saying is just center your trade execution and your entry and exit, especially your exit, around the trade, okay? Don't center your trade around the risk reward or anything like that. That comes later. So, let's see. So 10-to-1. So this is, I just wanted to show you a bundle of trades that I have. I have 495 samples. On the left-hand column, it just says how far this went in terms of risk. So this went 0.75 to 1, so it's a loss, basically. Loss, 0, loss, 0, loss. This one went 5.75 to 1. This one went 7.5 to 1. Then this one lost, and then this one went 10 to 1. So we're just counting how far these went. And this is just this is the risk-reward distribution of... This is 495 trades. These are actual my own data. This is live. Well, there's a lot of simulated, but this is the data that I track every day. Every trade is included there. So, but this is just a 495 trade sample. All right, this is a sufficient sample size, in my opinion. Let's see here. So 42% of the trades have less than a 1-to-1 risk reward, which you'd qualify as a loss. So already off the bat, I lose 40% of the time. And then a single is hit. Just picture baseball, It just depends on how far that ball goes, how far that ball rolls. If that ball rolls past the infield, it went through the guy's legs, and you might get lucky, you get a triple. Okay? That's the deal. And then once in a while you hit a home run, which is a 10 to 1. Anything over 10 is way past the wall. Like 10 to 1 is past that wall, man. So you get 40%. I got a 40. This is my data, and I think this would be this would probably be a normal distribution, in my opinion. And if I kept counting from 10 all the way to 20, it would just go smaller and smaller and smaller, So in my opinion, this is a normal distribution for any trade system. But we'll see. I mean, other people might have a little bit different. But anyways, a 1-to-1's, 17% of the time I grab a 1-to-1. above that, obviously 60% of the time is above a 1-to-1. So we're slightly profitable because a 1-to-1, obviously we need a 50% win rate at least to be break even. We got 60% or something like that. But right now, 17% of them go 1-to-1 and no further. So they die in the first and we just get a base hit. Now we can get a double, 2-to-1, 10% of the time, or additional 27% of the time if you count 1-to-1s. But so 2-to-1, you get 10%, 10% of the time, 3-to-1, 7% of the time, and then it goes down from there. So this is just the distribution, of how the reward lines up here. Now, I have an optimization calculator that I threw all these trades in. 494 trades. Let's see here. The expectancy on $100 of risk per trade. A 1-to-1 we'd make $15 a trade, and based on a number of trades, and of course, and then 21, and then 23. So a 3-to-1 it looks to be the most optimal. If you risked $100 per trade and you did 494 trades, which obviously took a long time, you'd make $11,400. That would be the net profit. So, and that's perfect execution and everything. If you look, the only negative one I have is a 10-to-1 right here. The risk rewards right here is a 10-to-1, and you can look at that graph. This is the chart from the start, and this is just simulated $100 per risk. What happened throughout all these trades, and you see 10-to-1 go down very far because there's strings of losers, and it not often it goes 10-to-1. Okay, and we ended negative 4,300. So obviously, in this strategy, at least in my data, a 10-to-1 does not work, not at all. I don't have anything against a 10-to-1 though. I really don't. Like, if it fits your system, like I said, if the trap is right for the animal, it'll be profitable. But a 10-to-1 is not right for my trade. It's not right for this specific strategy. And these are zones. There's a few breakouts in here, but they're wider breakouts. So, I mean, I could start manipulating the 494 and just filter them down because each trade has a list of traits. I could start doing it, but at a grand scale, all of, the whole bundle, it looks to be not profitable for me, a 10-to-1. A 3-to-1 seems to be the most profitable. So it is what it is. What it is. It is what it is. Yeah, I think that's enough for today. I just wanted to show. These are the charts. So, I just wanted to show drawdown. If you look at this chart closely, I'll try to get picture. Okay. And you might be like, whoa, what the heck is this? Well, these are the charts. And it just goes down because it starts erroring, or starts to be zero. And I just want the chart to be able to grab all of them. All right. If you look at the key here, a 10-to-1 is this gray, right? 10-to-1 is this gray. Green is a 5-to-1. Okay, it's way up there. Yellow is 3-to-1. Yep. Most profitable. Now, what is the most volatile? I think this blue and green look similar, but you see this green chart, it's dropping, and then it goes up, and it matches the blue, green and blue, but then the green drops more than the blue, but then it keeps on going. Green and blue, 4-to-1 and 5-to-1. Okay, those are very similar. Now, any time that you go up in risk reward, you get more volatile. I'll just tell you right now. If you look at the orange chart, if you can see it, I can see it. Hopefully you can see it. If you look at the orange chart under here, it has a tighter probability bands. You see the band, you can see a trend line on the top of it and on the bottom of it going upwards, right? It's tighter than the green. It's because this is a 1-to-1 risk reward and that green is a 5-to-1. A 5-to-1, it's going to increase faster, but then it's going to decrease faster because of a string of losers. It's less likely to win. Anytime there's a probability against you here, you have a string of losers. Now, there is a mathematical way of finding that out. Let's just say 50%, right? You have a 1-to-1 risk-reward relationship on this orange line. That's why it's somewhat small. You're not going to be crazy profitable, but not going to be crazy negative because it's pretty even, in my opinion. But we'll see. I mean, some trades, it might not be optimal and not be profitable. I just want to show you a little equation, how to figure out how many strings of losers in a row. So let's say the probability of, let's say, a coin flipping heads 3 times in a row would be 50% win rate of a heads, right? Times 50% times 50%. That's 3 times in a row. 0.125. In fraction form, 0.125, just because I looked it up beforehand, is 1 out of 8. 1 out of every 8. And you can do that by doing 1 divided by this. So a string of losers of 3 heads in a row has a probability of happening. 1 divided by whatever number this is, 0.125. 1 out of every 8. 1 out of every 8 trades, you'll have a string of 3 heads in a row. Okay? So like now you can start implementing that elsewhere in trading. So let's say this orange graph, this is a profitable graph. Now, what's my win rate? Is 58%. So what's the probability of having 5 losers in a row? That's $500 down, right? $100 risk, right? 58% win rate. So that's a 42% lose rate. So 0.42 times 0.42 times 0.42 times 0.42. Last one times 0.42. That's 5 of them in a row, okay? Now it's 0.013. 0.013. 1 divided by 0.013 is 1 out of every 76 times. Wow. Only 5 losers in a row? That doesn't make sense. That's really far. You rarely have 5 losers in a row. Well, I guess you do have almost a 60% win rate, but still I thought it would be greater than that. But that is the math. I'll try it again. .013. Yeah, that's right. That's right. 76. So 1 out of every 76 trades is a string of 5 losers. If you want to do 3 losers in a row, it's probably going to be really small or really easy to happen. Oops. .074. 13. So every 13 trades, expect a string of 3 losers in a row. This is a 1-to-1 strategy. That makes sense. But let's look at a 10-to-1. No, that's not profitable. Let's look at a 5-to-1. All right? We have a 20% win rate. Seriously, we're profitable with a 20% win rate. This is the green line here on the graph. So risking $100, you're up $3,000, now down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Big rally there. Lots of good trades in a row, and then gets down. There's a big drawdown here. Look at the drawdown. As this drawdown happens, the purple line is a 2-to-1. The yellow line is a 3-to-1. The blue line is next, which is a 4-to-1. And the next one is 5-to-1. See this drawdown? The drawdown is always more shallow as the less risk reward you go, okay? The variance inherently will always be less if you have a smaller risk reward. Now, if you need to watch your variance, if you need to watch that, then go for a smaller risk reward and try to find a strategy that works for that. But obviously, I told you, we need to see whatever animal you see in the jungle, you got to fit the trap around the animal, okay? You don't fit the animal into the trap. So whatever trade you are thinking about and you've found and given you the vision, whatever, you see a pattern in the marketplace, remember which risk reward is best for it. Why is it a trade? Well, if it's your hypothetical, your trade, your theory, if it's going to go further, don't be going for a 1-to-1. Go for a higher risk reward. Now, that is going to carry with it more variance. That's all I'm saying. And that sucks. But that's also good. It can be really profitable. Like, obviously, the variance of a 0.5-to-1, this gray line here, this flat line, right? Very flat, but it's low variance. The mix and mins are really small, actually, very tight. Even look at the orange one. The orange one goes up and down a lot more than the gray one, and that's just from a 0.5-to-1 to a 1-to-1. So, but look at the difference. If you have a higher risk reward, it's likely, it's probably likely that you're going to be more profitable, depending on your data. So, as you go up in profitability, you're just know that you're going to have a little bit more risk. You're going to have a more variance in your account, and this will directly affect your account balance. So be ready, be strapped in, especially if you have a 10-to-1. Be strapped in if you're going to do a 10-to-1 with a small win rate. Any smaller win rate's going to have bigger fluctuations. That's why I think balance and multiple trading setups and systems inside one portfolio can really diversify your risk reward, diversify your win rate, so you're not always having a huge drawdown. You shouldn't, at least. All right, so I think that should do it. No, I just want to test this same theory on let's say a 5-to-1. You legitimately lose 80% of the time, which sucks. So what's the probability of this losing 80% of the time, right? Losing, let's say, 10 times in a row. This is a huge number, all right? I'm going to count. Just bear with me. It's just doing 0.8 10 times in a row and then 1 divided by that number. Boy, this is not going to work. Let's just do this. Why didn't I just do this in the first place? 10 times in a row, 1 divided by this. Okay. And we get wow. Oh my gosh. Really? It doesn't make any sense. Are you sure? 0.1. Wow. Okay, so with an 80% lose rate, a 20% win rate, this strategy gets a loss of 10 losers in a row every 0.89 trades. That doesn't make any sense. Let's just do the equation for the heads and tails real quick that we already did. Should be 1 out of every 8. No, that's not right. That's certainly not right. 0.125. Yeah, 1 divided by this. Oh, sorry. It's 1 divided by, not 1 minus. I apologize. 1 out of every 8 trades. Okay. 80% lose rate on a 5-to-1. Still profitable. 10 losers in a row will happen every 9 trades. Be prepared for that. You know, if you any win rate, like this is things that probably you need to start thinking about naturally. Every nine trades, you are very likely. Every 9 trades, you're going to be likely, on average, to have a string of 10 losers in a row with a 20% win rate. Crazy, bro. Crazy. So that's just basically what risk reward, 10-to-1s, all that is about. All right. Peace.